felt like if we gave the fans a quality event with quality talent and gave it that real local vibe, that people would support it and appreciate it. We knew that it would take time to build the festival, build the brand, and grow it. And 5 years later, it's led us to a 3-day music festival. That's the one moment that always sticks out to me is year one. One of my favorite bands, Los Amigos Invisibles, was taking the stage right as the sun was going down. It was a very surreal moment for me, you know, realizing like this is what it's all about. All these people here having a good time, listening to music. We put everything we have into this fest, you know, and this isn't something that we just work on a couple of months a year, you know. We pretty much start working on the festival every year right around July and August. You have a lot of those kind of euphoric moments, I guess, every year during the festival when we finally open doors and people are finally at the fest and bands are playing. It's certainly a very gratifying feeling. When it comes to booking the lineup, you know, the first thing that we do is we ask the fans. We ask the fans probably 2 or 3 different times throughout the year across our social media outlets and say, look, you know, we're in the middle of beginning to book the festival for next year. Who do you want to see? We keep a running list, and we have that for 5 years running on who, you know, what artists have gotten the most votes over the years. There's a lot of artists I'm looking forward to seeing this year. I grew up with Cypress Hill. Cypress Hill is an artist I listen to still on a weekly basis. I'm also really excited to see La Mala Rodriguez. She's Spanish. She's coming in from Spain to bring in an artist like Cascade, who hasn't played a big show here in a long time. He was just the electronic headliner at Coachella, the only electronic artist to play the main stage at Coachella. Fans can get their tickets, 3-day tickets and single-day tickets on our website. They can also get tickets at any WB Liquors location in El Paso, Happy House in Cielo Vista Mall, the Headstand, All That Music, and the Pizza Joint. Tickets will be available at the door as well, so it is worth it. And it's something that I hope everyone at some point will give it a shot.
Saturday night had drifted into Sunday morning, and I made the normally horrid mistake of wandering into a bar alone. I had no real plans. I wasn't in any particular mood. I just wanted a nightcap.
My name is Austin Savage. I am the founder and artistic director of the Border Theater. Our goal at the outset of the Border Theater was to develop world premiere and original material by some of my very gifted writer friends from around the country while developing writers here in the local regions. Our very first production was an event called The Exhibitions at Disconnection. It was a series of rotating plays told with 3 different casts with 3 different directors, and the audience would actually follow a different cast around every night. And we've received some grant funding. One was used to develop a modern myth that was called Vultures at the Well. I was told in 24 parts with 6 different creators behind it.
Wallace Winter could look in the mirror every day and feel pride. The thing he took the most pride in, however, was his family. He had married his high school sweetheart, June. He knew her to be the perfect mate. She cheered heartily from the sidelines when he caught the touchdown that one state. And she kept her abortion secret when Wallace got drunk and her pregnant on the night of the big dance.
Yeah, the musical that did very well was called The Fall of Wallace Winter. It was actually devised in 2012 as part of an Exhibitions in Disconnection as a 1-act play. And then I dusted off the cobwebs, expanded it, and we put some music to it.
A hospital! You just asked that question.
Barry, calm down!
No, we are not taking him to a hospital. We take him to the hospital, they draw his blood, that draws attention. They want to know who gave it to him. On top of that, they'll want to know who it is that brought him in and where they disappeared to. That happens, and then they start looking at the video. And here's the kicker. It'll be our faces on the recording.
Barry was interesting. The funny thing about Barry is he's not a likable person. There's not a lot of redeeming to Barry. But the thing I enjoyed about Barry is that he seemed to enjoy his job. And I think that's at least one lesson we can learn from Barry is if you're going to do something, you should probably love what you do.
The idea that the journey begins with just a horse and a woman, and that's about as atypical a Western as I could imagine. So just taking them along their journey and coming across other characters, and I started thinking, if we have these two unlikely protagonists, then how unlikely can we continue to make the journey?
At its core, it's a story about redemption, someone trying to do right, to fix the error of their ways. And we know those stories work. You know, Christmas Carol gets told every year, and you know, Quantum Leap was on the air for way too long. So those kind of stories are ones that people pay attention to. We can be found at www.bordertheater.org, and it's theater with an R-E, that pretentious British-y way of spelling it. We can also be reached at 915-412-5293. And for any artists out there, in not just the performance and visual media, but painting, dance, whatever, you can always find us and like-minded souls over at Glassbox.
If your cup holder holds Dr. Pepper and Dr. Scholl's, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If stopping requires you to drop anchor, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691.
We've always been dreamers, existing in reality. It's never been easy, but it's always worth it. Soundstage 9. Produce your dreams.
Creep inside if you let me in. Slip in through your skin. Try and hide myself within your heart. Free that side, tell me your name.
If your airbag used to carry your lunch, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If a car wash cleans the outside and the inside, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If stopping requires you to drop anchor, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If your cup holder holds Dr. Pepper and Dr. Scholl's, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If your airbag used to carry your lunch, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If a car wash cleans the outside and the inside, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691.
I'm Neil Henry with Great Shapes. We've just recorded our debut EP, Murmuration. We're super excited about this. Kind of been going through the process for about a year.
Early in 2014, we started pre-production in my garage, and we got lots of scratch tracks done, lots of the bass and preliminary vocals and all the guitars done. So we had a good idea of what was happening when we went into the studio, and so we played along to some of those tracks. Some of the tracks George would play with me, and we'd record the drums first, and then started knocking out the rest of the individual tracks. That's the process that we took for the Murmuration album.
A recording process is a thing that's very, very elaborate. A lot of us were working full-time jobs. Justin had times when he was busy doing other things, other projects. Once you get the whole recording process done with laying all the tracks, and it's part of, you got to put in the little things such as some songs that we have maracas, other songs that we have different effects. For instance, in one of the songs, Murmuration, my bass line, they added a Juno, which is a keyboard, to go with the bass line, just to add that little extra space, things to fill up the ambience of the song.
We recorded with Justin Leah. After that was done, it was mastered by Joe Laporta. He's done like The Killers, Foo Fighters, Imagine Dragons. I think it took about a couple months just to get like the music done and kind of finalized. And then we went through the mixing process little by little, making tweaks, hearing, and then laid the vocals on top of that finally. After we got all the mixes down, sent it off to Joe Laporta. It was awesome to just hear the difference from what Justin did, and then he kind of took it to the next level. It was tough, kind of like going through all the music and getting it to where we wanted it. So when we were recording Timepiece, we had kind of the parts mixed and matched, and it didn't really sound like a complete song. It was, maybe there was a bridge where the verse should have been, a verse where the chorus should have been. And Justin sort of heard what was going on, and he took the song and said, I think these parts should go here. And, that formed together Timepiece. And we start that song off with a clicker, almost like a stopwatch. And that's kind of what it's about, like time moving fast, and you have what's going on around you.
Touring on the road is one of those things that you have to do. You don't know what to expect. I mean, you are with 4 people in a van. There's times when everybody bumps heads, and then the drive's long. But in the end, it's very worth it. Like, it's well worth it. You go down, you drive 7 hours, you hope you have a good crowd, and if the night turns out really good, then that's the satisfaction that you get. It's actually really fun, very gratifying to see someone say, hey, we really like your set. Do you guys have any music that you guys are putting out? I think probably the saddest thing is when you're driving back. You drive back because you're back to sort of reality, I guess, for now. And then you plan the next tour and you go from there.
So we're really super excited to release this album, show it to all our fans who have been going to our shows and keeping up with our latest news.
We've always been dreamers, existing in reality. It's never been easy, but it's always worth it. Soundstage 9, produce your dreams.
Creep inside if you let me in. Slip in through your skin. Try and hide myself within your heart. Free that side, tell me your name.
If your airbag used to carry your lunch, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If a car wash cleans the outside and the inside, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691.
We've always been dreamers, existing in reality. It's never been easy, but it's always worth it. Soundstage 9, produce your dreams.
Creep inside if you let me in. Slip in through your skin. Try and hide myself within your heart. Free that side, tell me your name.
If your airbag used to carry your lunch, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If a car wash cleans the outside and the inside, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691.
We've always been dreamers, existing in reality. It's never been easy, but it's always worth it. Soundstage 9, produce your dreams.
Creep inside if you let me in. Slip in through your skin. Try and hide myself within your heart. Free that side, tell me your name.
So you have to definitely have a passion for it, man. You can't just like wake up and want to do it. My name's Diego Martinez. I'm a local artist here in El Paso, Texas. I also paint with Los Visionaries, which is a group of people that I collaborate on a weekly, daily basis. They also know me as Diego Robot. Well, these last 2 years for me have been of transformation just with my artwork. Personally, I've gone through personal hardships. I've gone through things that I didn't want to have to go through in life, but they've made me a little stronger. And my robot isn't as boring as it was, or as simple. You know, it's transformed from a really simplistic to very complex. Robots for me were an influence because of my daughter. She was just born. I was painting already, which was 5 years ago, and you know, it just came natural to me to paint something simple. So my style, I would say, is best represented in kind of I do like the main background, like the main image. And I get a shape, and then I kind of do a grid of squares where I can kind of fill in robots to do the backdrop. And then it's just layers, spray paint on spray paint, and trying to get like the perfect combination of squares, and then working on the face. It's just like 50 hours, with that like 50, 60 hours of just spray painting and not really knowing what I'm doing. Just kind of free flow. I'm real free flow. I use a lot of graffiti, like base spray paint, and markers. I use acrylic paint. I use pen marker. So it's just a bit of everything. It's kind of a mixture of medias. The pieces for the show that I did with Iconic Points in Time, a lot of them were personal. A lot of them were a little bit religious. You know, I had, you know, like my demons, and I had a few that were finding the light at the end of the tunnels, and a piece of another one. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do, and like, you know, every day is trying to just kind of go with the flow and take it day by day and kind of see where life goes. Iconic Points in Time happened before the Visionaries Collective. It was my friend Edgar and Victor, and then it kind of combined 6 of us. But Tino was a part of the collaborations because he was a part of. We've been friends since I started, and it so happened we had 3.5 weeks to paint everything. So we came up with the 3 main collaboration pieces. We did past, present, and future. Past being a Sarco, present being the star, and then the future being the trolley. El Paso is a very special city. You know, we have so much culture, so much diversity. We have the Mexican border. We have colors, artists, you know, talent, you know. So to really be able to be proud of the roots, you know, everyone has roots here. We all have family here. So there's something beautiful about El Paso. Everyone, from the people I work with, you know, to my friends and family, anyone that's bought a shirt, you know, it's been a lot of people. It's been everybody in my life. Because it's every day something. I meet someone new, someone that's trying to help me help them, or help, you know. It's a give take. So as much as I receive, I have to give back, you know, or help. Because I was like 2 years ago, I was trading. I was pulling up at gas stations and trading paintings to fill up my gas tank. The first few years, I had to give out more free shirts than I sold. You know, I did the local. I worked at a lot of bars. I did bar backing at the Monkey, so that was like. You know, just I gave shirts to local DJs. I got to work at Bucanas, and I got to meet Laid Back Luke, give him shirts. You know, just a lot of people along the way helping you for whatever reason, and just getting to where you get. Just know it's gonna be work, and you know, it's gonna take a few years, but it's okay. You know, because it takes a while. But don't give up. You know, even if it's your side job, forever, for a while.
If a car wash cleans the outside and the inside, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If stopping requires you to drop anchor, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If your airbag used to carry your lunch, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If a car wash cleans the outside and the inside, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691.
We've always been dreamers, existing in reality. It's never been easy, but it's always worth it. Soundstage 9. Produce your dreams.
Creep inside if you let me in. Slip in through your skin. Try and hide myself within your heart. Free that side to me your name.
If your cup holder holds Dr. Pepper and Dr. Scholl's, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If your airbag used to carry your lunch, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If stopping requires you to drop anchor, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691. If a car wash cleans the outside and the inside, it might be time for a fresh start at the Jack Key Auto Group. With 9 brands and 5 locations, everybody knows a great drive starts with a key. And yes, we're open Sundays. Call 800-332-1691.
I spend every day in this costume. I see everything and I see nothing. Cars pass and honk at me. People laugh at me. I smell like jock sweat. I feel like jock sweat. I don't belong here, in this suit. Even in my nightmares, I can't escape the costume. I often wonder if I would have more freedom if I was actually trapped in the suit. What would they expect from me then? What could they expect from a creature of myth? For now, I stay home and do the dishes. Something changed in me. I was free.
search for clues, but you will find one if you try.